Hello everyone, welcome to the Ozark Outpost. This is Global War 1985, Operation Mars, Turn 8. Warsaw Pact had 3 damage. I believe it was on major army base in East Germany again. Anyway, it was paid off. They rolled for tech and got stage 2 of chemical warfare. And they bought 3 paramilitary, 2 mechanized infantry, 2 next generation MBTs, 3 light infantry, and a fighter. For combat, they decided to attack Suez. It doesn't look like it, but they did capture it. It cost them 2 early generation fighters, an MBT, and a SAM. They also launched an attack into Rhineland, which did not go their way at all. Rhineland was another bloodbath, similar to northern Germany here just a little while back. Warsaw Pact had to retreat from the battle. It cost them 4 artillery, 3 early generation fighters, 2 early generation MBTs, a mech, an attack helicopter, a next generation MBT, a SAM, and a SPAG. NATO did not come out of the fight great. When it was over with, they were down to an air superiority fighter, 4 NATO next-gen MBTs, and an American next-gen MBT. That was all they had left, but Warsaw Pact just did well. I think you can see there, that may have been what they had left, was an artillery and 2 MBTs. It wasn't much. They were in bad shape. After that fight, I forgot to write one down, but that's all right. Oh no, that's Warsaw Pact. Warsaw Pact did a surgical strike into Akershus with 2 cruise missiles and spy satellite support, and they did get 1 hit, killing NATO mechanized infantry. We'll get to what you're actually seeing on the map in a bit. Okay, some political ramifications of this round. Look at all the stars and stripes in the Middle East. As a result of Warsaw Pact capturing Suez, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait all signed military pacts with U.S. Global. So you can see all that Israel over here. Warsaw Pact got a hold of Suez. They got a little bonus for that, but they did pay a political price for it. So their income this time was up to 31. There was a +10 for computers, +6 for their holdings in Africa, and then +2 may have been for capturing Suez. Anyway, that gave them 49 total to put in their bank. NATO had 4 damage. Yeah, we'll explain that later. 4 damage on the major army base in Marmara that they paid off. For tech, NATO, I think, consistently has rolled the best tech of any faction in the game thus far. They went 3 for 3 again. They got stage 1 of precision guided munitions, stage 3 of chemical, and they moved Top Gun up to Stage 2. For their buy, they went with 4 mechanized infantry, 1 SAM, and 1 fighter. Combat, zoom a little bit there. As you can see, there's been a change in northern Germany. They attacked it using battlefield nukes and won the battle for a loss of 1 airborne and 3 MBTs. Then you don't see it reflected there, but as I said, we'll get to that in a bit. They also counterattacked Denmark with 2 Marines, naval attack bomber, and I think an attack chopper. Well, anyway, they took Denmark back at a cost of 1 Marine. And then down here in Austria, there we are, Austria. NATO counterattacked from Italy and took that back, also using battlefield nukes, and they did not suffer any casualties. NATO's income rose up to 42. They still have -8 for lost oil, which put 34 in their bank. Soviet Global rolled 6 tech dice again, they're up to. And I think they're I think some guys are counting trees in Siberia today. They only hit 2 out of 6 dice. They got stage 1 of SDI. They completed advanced air superiority fighters. For military aid, they decided to send an artillery to Warsaw Pact. And they gifted Far East Command 9 IPP for a full repair on the major army base in Uzbekistan. The Politburo is quite angry with Saddam Hussein, and they decided to close the spigot for now. So for their build, Soviet Global built 2 SSNs, 1 Tu-22M backfire, 1 advanced air superiority fighter, and a SAM. Combat, as you got a sneak peek of a while ago, the Soviets charged from central Turkey into Marmara and took the zone at a cost of 2 mechanized infantry, a SPAG, an attack helicopter, and 4 fighters. I mean, it was another bloodbath. The Turks, dug their heels in, tied themselves down with a stake so they couldn't run away, and just slugged it out. This is what they had left. 2 next generation MBTs and artillery. That was all they had. Let's see, in I-6, right there, the Soviet fleet did an anti-ship missile attack on the American fleet. Between their SSN and the cruiser, which that's what the Soviets have there in the Indian Ocean, they shot 3 anti-ship missiles, scored 1 hit. They had spy satellite support. Scored 1 hit, so they target selected the American cruiser. And that is what the Americans have left in I-6. They've been taking a beating defending those oil tanker routes. In A10, over here at the North Sea, the Soviets didn't like the fact that NATO had sent an amphibious assault ship over from the UK to land Marines in Denmark. So they did a missile attack there as well from their fleet here in A7. Let's see, they shot a total of 5 P700s, and there also had been 2 SSNs in this zone. So from the Moskva, they sent 4, well, from the Moskva and from one of the battle cruisers, they sent 4 ASW choppers over. The missiles killed the amphib, and the ASW helos killed both of the SSNs. Since it was strictly a naval airstrike, there was nothing for the subs to shoot back at. There had been a surviving aircraft carrier in A6 with 3 ASW choppers on board. But after the shellacking that fleet took, they retreated over here and went into port at the major shipyard there at southern England. And this SSGN did a port strike on them. They shot 3 P700s. Also, the backfire from Murmansk flew over the unprotected North Sea to shoot a pair of KH-22s into southern England as well. And it was more than enough. I think they actually, of the 5 missiles, I think they got 3 hits on 1 amphibious assault ship. So it sank, and its ASW choppers, of course, were ashore since it was in port. Okay, next step. Way up north, the Soviets decided it was time to flex their muscle in Scandinavia some more. As you recall, they previously conquered Finland, and this time they went after Norway. So the attack into Nordland was a success. They had 2 airborne as casualties. Then they attacked southern Norway and took it without any losses. And then they sent 2 airborne from Murmansk into Svalbard for an unopposed capture there. And then trade back and forth. Soviets, Marines, and ships out of Leningrad came over and invaded Denmark and captured it once again without taking any losses. Iraq, even though they're being shunned by Moscow at the moment, did do their recruitment role, but they came up with a big 0. So Soviet Global's income is up to 40, plus 2 for something I don't remember. And then plus 7, I believe, is computers. Oh, the plus 2 was 1 each for holding Akershus and Denmark, maybe. Anyway, they have a total of 49 they put in their bank. Okay, U.S. Global, they're still rolling just 4 tech dice per turn. They haven't put any money into upgrading facilities. They were able to finish advanced SLBMs and they scored stage 3 of SDI. So next time around, it's too late for them now, but next time around, Soviet Global will get to roll for counterforce release authorization, I believe, because of that SDI research. Something's telling me Warsaw Pact 2, maybe. Okay, for their part, the U.S. Global, as a result of Warsaw Pact capturing Suez, that gave them a chance to roll for theater nuclear release authorization, which they did get. So they deployed a theater missile, an attack bomber, and a B-1 bomber as a result of that. For military aid, the Americans decided to send their honestly their heroes in the desert, the Iranians, a next-gen MBT, and NATO got its standard attack bomber. For themselves, the Americans finished the cruiser they had on the build chart. They also built 1 Navy fighter, 2 frigates. They built 2 replacement oil tankers and an F-117 stealth fighter. For combat, in A-17, still within his 4-zone ASW patrol range, the P-3 went over here and dropped weapons on the Soviet SSGN, but as you can see, they missed, and the Soviet sub went to silent running. In Bavaria, and I was wrong, that wasn't what the Soviets had left at the end of the NATO battle. I forgot about this. In Bavaria, they launched a surgical strike with B-52 shooting cruise missiles and an F-117 flying out of Paris. They got 2 hits. I think one was, no, they all 3 weapons hit. The stealth fighter got its hit and both cruise missiles hit, because there were no SAMs there, so no missile defense. It killed 2 mechs and an MBT because they had spy satellite support, so they were able to target select the cruise missiles onto the mechs. Let's see. Launching a counteroffensive out of Israel, the Americans liberated Suez without taking any losses. And then Iran decided to go for the knockout blow on Iraq. They just didn't quite make it. There was a walk-in at Basra by light infantry. The mechs supported by the fighter went into Baghdad and won that fight easily without losing anything. But up here in the north, there was a mech infantry here that attacked a paramilitary in Mosul. I think it went 5 or 6 rounds, and they killed each other on the last roll. So they fell just a little bit short of conquering Iraq. But this result will give Soviet Global an opportunity to try to declare war on Iran next turn if they think they need to. Iran missed their recruitment role, and American income is up to 54 plus 8 for their wartime bonus because they replaced the oil tanker in I-1 and the tanker in A-41. They were only -2 for lost oil income. So that puts 60 in their bank. Okay, then Far East Command. Chinese nukes had done some damage there in Uzbekistan. If you remember, Soviet Global paid to repair the major army base. There were also 7 points of damage on that minor air base. So FEC shelled out the rubles to repair that damage themselves. Then they built 2 next generation MBTs, 2 MBTs, and a SAM. For combat, they decided, you're going to hit us, we're going to keep hitting back. So they shot theater missile at the major army base in Qinghai, which they hit for 5 points of damage. And then they shot their other theater missile from Novosibirsk at the major army base in Beijing again, and they hit it for another 7 points of damage, bringing the total on that facility to 14. Just 4 points short of destruction. They also decided they didn't want to take any more chances with the Chinese launching another ICBM. So they attacked eastern Tibet. And as you can see, they captured the remaining Chinese missile silo. They didn't take any losses doing it. So after the silo was destroyed, the ICBM was also destroyed and removed from the Chinese dashboard. They launched a surgical strike into Beijing with spy satellite support in an attempt to do some more damage there. There's where I want to be. But it didn't work out too good for them. They lost their 2 air superiority fighters to interception last turn. They decided to chance it and go without any escort this turn, and they paid for it. The Chinese once again scrambled 2 early generation fighters from Beijing and 4 from Zhejiang, and they shot down the 2 attack bombers that were part of the strike package. Make sure I get that right. The backfire flying out of Vladivostok shot a cruise missile, and the major air base in Vladivostok shot a cruise missile. Both of them hit, and they killed 2 field artillery. Then in P-26, right here, there was an American frigate trying to make it home to join the rest of the fleet, and this SSGN slid over one spot and shot P-700 granites at him and put him on the bottom of the Pacific. And then down here in P-41, there was what had been a NATO destroyer from Australia was headed north doing the same thing, trying to rejoin the fleet. What was it? 3 diesel electric subs wolf-packed him, sank the destroyer, but 2 of the diesel boats went down as well. I believe that went 3 rounds. Yeah, they lost 1 diesel boat on the first 2 rounds. No, it went 2 rounds. They lost a diesel boat on each one. They wouldn't give up on go on silent running. They wanted to kill that destroyer. FEC's income was 17. They had a +8. I believe that's for computers. A +1 for holding all of Manchuria. No, it was +8 for their total number of Chinese zones that they hold. And then +1 for all 3 zones of Manchuria, and +3 for computers. That was it. To give them a total of 29 in their bank. Pacific Command came in and built 2 frigates, 1 S3 Viking, 2 mechs, and an MBT. They counterattacked with the P3, that SSGN, and as you can see, they missed and it went on silent running. They did a surgical attack. The B-52 from Guam flew over kind of a circuitous route, flew over this way and then up through Vietnam to North Vietnam to launch their missiles so he wouldn't be subject to air interception from the GACs over here with the FEC fleet. They had spy satellite support, but both of their missiles went off course and missed. PAC's income's 25, -4 for lost oil, put 21 in their bank. And then finally China, they got to have 1 tech roll that they missed. They decided to buy 8 paramilitary. For combat, they shot a theater missile at the major army base again in Uzbekistan, but missile defense shot it down, so no joy there. For their income, China had 6 +3 for independent arms sales and a +7 for computers, put 16 in their bank. And that's it for this one. Ozark Outpost, over and out.